Hi, everyone. We're here today again to talk about my new book, The Modern Guide to Antique Jewelry, which is available for pre-order on Amazon.com. And it runs from the 1700s to the 1920s, the beginning of the Art Deco period. And we're here today with Diane Richardson of Oak Park, Illinois. She has a store there called the Gold Hatpin, and she also shows at various antique fairs where I actually met Diane and purchased some things from her. And she is and she is featured in the book, has many quotes featured in the book. She's very knowledgeable on many different subjects, but today we're going to be talking about how to shop in an antique fair. I figured it was a great topic to talk about since that's where I met her first. So Diane, take it away.
Okay, so the first thing you do before you even set foot in your antique show is figure out what your goal is. If you have a goal, if you want to maybe find a pair of earrings to match the Art Deco bracelet that your great grandmother left you, or you need a pair of a ring to go with something, a necklace that you have that your husband or significant other gave you. Make a plan, think what you're wanting to buy at this antique show, and take a look at the list of the dealers who are going to be exhibiting and see if there's anyone that you recognize who you might have seen on social media or read about somewhere or seen pictures of their jewelry on Pinterest, and sort of make a plan of who you'd like to see. You can also, if you don't have anyone in mind, you can just walk the aisles and take a look at what sorts of things appeal to you, because the dealers have lots of beautiful jewelry and it's easy to get sidetracked, but you want to look for what you have, or what you're looking for. Ask the dealers, do you have such and so, whatever piece you're looking for. It takes a little less time if you can get their attention to show them, maybe if you brought the piece along with you, which is ideal. If you want to make sure the colors of the gold match or the gems match, show them what you're trying to work with and see if they have something that they can think of, because I'm sure they will have something in their case that might work with your piece.
And they might have a lot of other things that might catch your interest, right, Diane?
Right. It's easy to get overwhelmed at an antique show, which is why having an idea of what you're looking for helps you put on some blinders so you don't get dazzled by all the sparkle.
But it's interesting because we've always talked about this, that it's also you go looking for one thing and you might come across, I mean, this has happened to me a couple of times. You go looking for one thing and all of a sudden I have a bird in my hair, a PK bird barrette that I bought at an antique show while I was looking for I think it was a Georgian half hoop diamond ring. I was collecting Georgian rings and I was looking for a specific ring, and at the dealer I saw this beautiful swallow made out of PK and tortoise, and it just caught my eye, and I was like, okay, I have to have that. So you can get time a little.
Yeah, serendipity happens, and that's one of the fun parts of the shopping the show, is that you never know what you're going to find. So even though you might be looking for one thing, something else beautiful catches your eye that you give up your original goal and say, oh, I have to have this. So another part of preparing for the show is sort of think about your budget and what you have to spend, and if And we never have enough money when we go shopping, right, Beth? There is never enough for all the beautiful things that we'd like to buy. But you know, keep your budget in mind. Sometimes there might be something that is really so special you've never seen before, you would get a lot of wear out of. So sometimes you can go over a little, but you may need to check with someone or check your checkbook or bank account. But you know, keep your eyes open for those special pieces that might show up.
And they also, because they don't come around again, it's not like they were.
Right.
Yeah,
You can't just order one up. They weren't exactly one of a kind, but they are few and far between usually.
yeah.
Those special.
So, so when we talk about budget, when we talk about pieces that, you know, besides budget, I think that pieces you can wear every day, that, you know, there are pieces that you collect because of art's sake and because of historical reasons, and you fall in love with it because of those reasons. Whether you're a starter collector, it might catch your eye and you might think, oh, I want to collect Grand Tour jewelry, or, you know, archaeological jewelry from the Victorian period, or I want to collect Georgian rings, or I want to collect Art Deco earrings, whatever, Art Deco period. But there are things that can't be worn every day, and there are things that can be worn every day. So maybe we should look at something that can be worn every day, and then maybe something that can't be worn every day, but we might not be able to live without.
Right. So I'm going to start with something that is not everyday jewelry. I bought this ages ago, this really beautiful micro mosaic bracelet. Probably it's archaeological revival. Teeny tiny tesserae make up this mosaic. It's really very fine work, really pretty twisted wire all around here, Etruscan granulation on the finials, and unlike some bracelets, it has a design on both sides. This one happens to be different. Is that in focus, Beth?
Yeah, completely.
Okay. Okay. So birds on both sides. The colors are so pleasing. The artist did a magnificent job in the shading, the shadow. It's just one of my favorite pieces. But it's not for everywhere. Right. It's a Asian bracelet that you're not going to be knocking around too much, because these are little bitty pieces of glass, and so you don't want to bump it, especially on your wrist. However, for a really good everyday piece, a signet ring is a good idea.
That's a pretty one. It's
it has a fleur-de-lis.
Okay. Yeah, I see the fleur-de-lis now.
It's engraved on the front, and it has really pretty repoussé work on the side.
That's great, and it has that like chunky weightiness to it, so you can wear it as your one ring. If you wear stacks of like eternity bands, or stacks of, you know, or half hoop Georgian bands, or whatever, that can go, you know,
yeah, foundation for your collection. A good signature piece, signet ring, signature. So yeah, and it wears well. It's no prongs, easy, flip it on. It's yours. It's your signature piece.
And also it looks great on the ring finger. It looks great on the middle finger.
Right.
If you find a small one, they look great on the pinky fingers.
Right. I like it for some reason. I like seeing them on, when people wear them on their index finger. It's, I don't know, it's a little edgier or unusual, but I like that look.
Yeah, I personally like that look too. I like that finger, and I also like the smaller pinky ones. But
Um, other,
our
other,
personal taste. I think
other
personal
everybody's,
taste. Yeah.
um, long Victorian earrings. I tend to like them longer because of my face shape. These aren't going to break the bank, and these are sort of special. They're articulated in 4 places. They have black and white enamel, just easy to wear. These are in my own personal collection, so they're a fun piece that I like. But you can tell they're Victorian because they're lightweight. The Victorians liked a big look in jewelry, but then, as now, gold was expensive, so they gave you a big look but made it lightweight, so A, it's easy to wear, and B, it didn't cost an arm and a leg.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask when you said, and they're lightweight. It's lightweight, so it doesn't feel like it's dragging down your ears, because some of the earlier Georgian earrings were really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Were really heavy in those times. And then as we went on to the different periods, like the Edwardian, they were lighter weight because of the platinum, and they could use less metal. But these were so lightweight, even though they were long, and that's really wonderful to be able to have and find. Because I tend to wear smaller earrings because I don't like anything pulling on my ears except for that type of Victorian style.
Yeah. I don't like anything on my ears either, but the fashion at the time was big and long, and making them lightweight allowed you not to feel burdened by them.
Yeah, no, I think those are great. And there were also the torpedo style with granulation that were long, but they were hollow inside. So they also
Right.
had this like wonderful, it seemed like, like a big look, but it was really lightweight in the ear.
Yeah. Yep. I have some torpedo earrings, and they're barely there, although they're definitely, you see them, but the weight is very featherweight.
But this is interesting because this is what, so like you're showing me those earrings, right? And we're at an antique show, and this is what you'd be telling somebody who would be asking you questions about like Victorian versus why should I buy Victorian gold earrings instead of, modern gold earrings, or, and you would explain, besides the fact that they have a lot of character and presence, and they're storied pieces. There's a lot to say about them, but it's also the weight of them and the beauty of the articulation.
Right. And especially with earrings, because there were 2, you needed 2 to exist and to stay in existence for many years. And so often one got dropped, stepped on, lost, and then you only have one. So it's hard to find really nice Victorian earrings that haven't been damaged or lost, or something happened over time. So the fact that they are existing is a plus.
So let's go back for a second to the serendipity part of the serendipity part of this. So I see the micro mosaic bracelet, and I think, not sure I can afford that, but just fell in love with that. Diane, how do you do, do you hold things? How do you give me time to make a decision on whether I can afford that? Like, that is a question a lot of people I know ask at an antique show.
Yeah. And that's a very reasonable question, because there's lots to see. And maybe you fall in love with something in the first booth or the third booth, and there are 200 more booths. And what do? Well, you think about how it would feel if someone else came and bought it. Once you're looking at a piece and you have it in your hand, if you set it down, that's the sign to somebody else that it's fair game and that they might want to buy it because they've been standing next to you or near you and heard the discussion, and they decide, oh, I love that piece. So you have to decide if you're ready to pull the trigger or not. I offer layaway to my customers on, especially on really expensive pieces, because I realize that as much as we all love jewelry, and people have been adorning themselves with jewelry since the beginning of people, it is not a necessity. So we try to make it easy for people to buy jewelry, because pretty much everyone likes it and wants it and enjoys wearing it. And it's a nice gift to give someone, especially on a special occasion, a promotion, a birth of a new baby, a wedding anniversary, wedding gift, all kinds of occasions, certainly your birthday, which comes once a year.
Buy for yourself on your birthday, definitely. Or if you've written a new book. I always buy myself a new piece of jewelry every time I write a new book about jewelry.
Absolutely.
Perfect present.
And why women self-purchasers are a huge category. So women are making their own money, and why shouldn't we buy things that please us and tickle us? And when you keep in mind that jewelry is a reflection of your taste, your personality, your style, it makes sense that you know what you're going to like. And you know, I grew up, and maybe you did too, thinking that the man was supposed to buy me jewelry. And now I'm in the jewelry business. And so I don't really want him to be buying me jewelry. I like to choose it myself. And pretty much all of my jewelry is things that I've chosen for myself. So anyway, yes, I offer layaway. You can ask the dealer about layaway. You can ask if they'll give you a little bit of time to walk away and catch your breath and think about your purchase, to make your decision. Or maybe it's reasonable to ask for a dealer to hold something for 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour if they're especially generous. But keep in mind, it costs a lot of money for the dealers to do the shows, and we need to sell things. And you, the customer, need us to sell things so that we will keep coming back to show you more jewelry. So it's a nice symbiotic relationship. You want to buy jewelry, we want to sell jewelry. So, but if you ask to have something hold, it really is polite to go back and say yes or no, or, you know, but usually the dealer knows if you don't come back within the specified time, that it's fair game for somebody else.
Right. And then let's say you do come back and you say, I don't think I could do this right now. And then you can't fall asleep at night because you didn't do it. And you hope to go back in the morning and you figure out something and you're hoping the piece is still there. Because there have been times I've done that. And I call it the one that's got away. The piece has been sold to somebody else. And it's kind of, I've done some articles on this with other dealers and store owners and collectors who talk about the one that got away. And it's really like kind of heartbreaking when you finally decide, you know, in the middle of the night, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you go back and it's gone. So if you really love something and it really feels like serendipity, I would, you know, go for it and do the layaway.
And there is an expression in the antique business: the time to buy an antique is when you see it. Because even if you pass this time, you think, oh, well, I'll find it again at the next show. I have people coming into my store saying, oh, I've been looking for this ring that I lost 20 years ago, and they're still looking and haven't found it. So Yeah, it's if that's the one, think long and hard about it before you step away.
So I have another question to ask you. Speaking of, stepping away and thinking about things, is it okay to ask the dealer? A lot of people, talk to me about this. If they can get a little bit better price on something, is that an okay question to ask? A lot of people might want, a little bit, maybe want to negotiate a little bit. So how do you do that at an antique show? And is it a fair thing to do with the dealer?
It is a fair thing to do, and in many cases, no price is firm. Occasionally, people want what they want and will wait to get it. But if you ask, you can ask the dealer, is this your best price? Can you do any better on the price? And you can make an offer. If you make an offer, make sure that it's a reasonable offer, that something that the dealer isn't going to toss you out of their booth for insulting them. But over time, dealers get thick skin and can withstand most of the things that customers throw at them. But yes, it's I find it much easier to negotiate with someone who is pleasant and fair-minded and realizes that dealers have expenses, a lot of expenses, to find the jewelry, fix the jewelry, clean it, inventory it, price it, display it, transport it, rent the showcases, rent the lights, have the helper come, pay meals. It's a lot of expense. So yes, we usually have a little bit of flexibility in the pricing, but my policy is I try to price things fairly to begin with, because not everyone's comfortable negotiating, and I understand that, and I don't want the prices to be so high that it's just out of the question when really I would have taken a much lower price. So I have some negotiating room. Different dealers have different policies on that, but yeah, feel free to ask for a little better price. Yeah.
Okay. And we talked about something yesterday, just in conversation, about something you learned when you were younger about the dealer shelves. Can you just explain that a little bit more to the viewers today?
Yeah, this was something at my very first big antique show. Someone who, with more experience than I, said, it may seem overwhelming and really expensive, and you're never going to find anything in your price range at this show, but look on the dealer's bottom shelf, because that's where they put things that they are less interested in, maybe have too many of, maybe have had it a long time, maybe their stock has grown and changed and they've outgrown that sort of piece, or who knows what. But if you look on their bottom shelf, you might just find a bargain there, something that they're happy to sell at a discount just to move it out of their case because they are tired of looking at it and want some fresh money coming in to buy something new.
And so interestingly that we talk about this, because once at, I think it was the third show I met you at, I usually look from the top case down, and because the best things are at the top case, but I usually look down, and I go down, and in the bottom case I thought, wait a second, I saw this beautiful tricolor monogram S&M, which, you know, is S&M, but it's also it's also my mother and father's initials together. Now, they had gotten divorced, but they both died young. So to me, finding their initials entwined together in such a beautiful way, I couldn't believe I found something like that. That was like going to be, you know, a remembrance piece for me. And I remember not even asking, I'm like, I'll take it. And I didn't even ask for the price yet. But yeah, I actually found that on your bottom shelf. So that
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little insider's tip to shopping an antique show.